Hello, friend.
You know, my mom always told me, son, if you have nothing nice to say, it's best that you not say anything at all. But when it comes to Borderlands, I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of talking today anyway. Welcome to the Twee'quel Podcast. What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Alexander, the voice in the void, the lone wolf, your favorite host with a list. Happy Saturday to you, and welcome to another episode of the Twee'quel Podcast. If this is your first time watching, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We got plenty of old episodes you can watch. I'm pretty sure you'll find something you like. And if you've been rocking with us for a while, thank you very much. I am so happy that you decided to tune in every week while I do this Pokémon podcast. I truly appreciate it. We got a lot to do today. We have the Trap review. We have the review for Borderlands. We finally got news about what happened with the firing of Bo DeMayo. Not a whole lot, but it's a little bit of a tidbit that may give us some insight into what actually went on behind the scenes that got him fired. And we have a very extensive weekend watch list because it's a lot. Believe me, it's a lot. But before we get into that, we got the news, and that's what we're going to do first. So let's get right to it. So we start off our news today talking about the passing of Wally Amos, Patty Yasutake, and Rachel Lillis. Now, a lot of these names, all three of them, you probably don't know them offhand, but I guarantee you, if you anywhere near my age, as a matter of fact, you can be anywhere between the ages of 20 and my age, and you will absolutely know their impact on your lives. Starting with Wally Amos, he is the man that invented the very cookies that defined the mall era when I was growing up. Famous Amos cookies. Now, he did indeed sell his stake in the brand way back in 1988 for $3 million, but he was also, outside of that, a literacy advocate and a person who very much looked to inspire the youth. He grew up, and I'm sorry, he didn't grow up, but he passed away in Hawaii just a few days ago from complications of dementia. Patty Yasutake, if you don't know the name, you probably know the face, especially if you are a Star Trek fan. She played Nurse Ogawa on Star Trek The Next Generation. It seemed like she was there forever, but she was only ever in 15 total episodes when the series ran, and she was also in 2 of the Star Trek Next Generation films as Nurse Ogawa. She had a ton of other credits, but that was by far her most recognized role to date. And Rachel Lillis, what can I say about her? A ton of voice acting roles, but she was the voice of one of the greatest anime ever made, Pokemon. She did the voice for Misty, Jessie of Team Rocket, and for the Pokemon Jigglypuff. Like I said, Wally Amos passed away from complications of dementia. He was 88. Patty Yasutake passed away from cancer. She was 70. And Rachel Lillis passed away also from cancer. She was 55. Day 22 of the SAG-AFTRA strike for our video game voice actors and of all sorts. So far, like I said, it's on day 22. Negotiations still ongoing. Not much has come out of that. Industry officials, people who work for who are arguing on behalf of the video game companies, they say that they've agreed to 24 of the 25 provisions that SAG-AFTRA has come up with, and they don't know what the big problem is. But SAG-AFTRA has saying that unless the comprehensive AI protection that they really want, if they're not going to agree with that, then all of the other 24 mean absolutely nothing. So it seems like AI is the big thing that the companies want, and the big thing that SAG-AFTRA wants to protect their people against. Like I said, there's not much to come out of this. They are on strike. They are on the picket line. So any news that comes up outside of that, I'll let you know as soon as I get it. At the box office, I'm pretty sure you know exactly which movie is number one. Deadpool and Wolverine, now over $1 billion. They got a little ways to go in order to get to the number one spot. That's still being held by Inside Out 2 at 1.5, almost 1.6 billion. So they're quite a ways behind, but who knows? By the time the year is over, Deadpool and Wolverine will probably reach that number one spot. Number two, It Ends With Us, now over $100 million. I actually do want to see that film. I'll probably get out out there and see it this weekend, and then I'll let you know what I think about it. Twisters comes in at number 3. It's in its not its opening weekend, but it's just about $315 million already. A good movie. I told you I liked it. Not as good as the original, but still a good film if you haven't seen it. Borderlands is at number 4 with only $8.5 million worldwide. It is falling in a hole. And Trap is still hanging around in 6th place at $48 million worldwide. Like I said, Deadpool and Wolverine at just about $550 million behind Inside Out 2. They could see that by the end of the year, most likely. We are going to be reviewing Trap and Borderlands. I'm going to do my best not to go too far overboard with reviewing Borderlands. And new this weekend, Alien Romulus. I cannot wait to see Alien Romulus. That is, after Deadpool and Wolverine, that's probably my most anticipated film of the year. And everything that they're saying so far about it, like I said, it sounds good, so I can't wait to get out there and see it this weekend. D23 has come and gone, and it was a lot of really cool things that we got to see about it. It is way too much to try to go over in this one little news segment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video updating you on all the most important things that I learned at D23, and I will get back to you. So look for that video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and when it pops up, you'll be able to see and hear what I thought of all the news that we got. For all you millennials, we used to know what DVD stood for. Now it stands for Disney versus DeMeo. So we've finally gotten a glimpse into what transpired in getting Bo DeMeo fired. Where in a sense, we've gotten a look into it. It all came crashing down upon us around Thursday midday when Bo DeMeo tweeted about his season 2 credits being taken away from him. He tweeted about it, and Disney sent out a furious response saying that, yeah, we indeed fired him for some egregious, as they say, egregious misconduct. But they didn't elaborate on those findings. It is a lot to get into talking about that. So I'm not going to try to talk about it in the news segment. Like I said, it is way too much. I'm going to do a smaller, shorter video on everything that has transpired thus far. So again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you can catch that video when I upload it sometime today or sometime tomorrow. So Paramount is canceling their entire television division. And no, I am not kidding. So Paramount Television Studios is officially gone. Now, they started it just about 11 years ago, and it was basically just a studio to develop TV series based on their movie and film IPs. The decision was made ahead of the merger with Skydance, which they just finalized not that long ago, and they did it in order to cut $500 million from their budget. And of course, when companies like that start talking about cutting money out of the budget, they're talking about cutting jobs. Now, earlier this year in February, Paramount had already had one round of layoffs, and it looks like there's going to be more layoffs to come. It really sucks because whenever companies like this start talking about, oh, we're just trying to save money and streamline, all that means is that hard-working, working-class folks are about to lose their jobs. So let's hope those people land on their feet and find new jobs as fast as possible. I hope you're ready for another One Piece because you are about to get it. Now, we do have the live action on Netflix, and they are getting ready to get started with a season 2, and that'll be dropping in our laps sometime soon. But it looks like there's going to be a second One Piece remix coming to Netflix. So it will feature an updated animation style. So that means this is going to be animated, and they're going to animate the entire series over from the very beginning. So they're doing this because they say that they want a newer series, a more up-to-date, more fresher looking series for newer viewers to be able to hop into. And they're also saying it's going to be more streamlined, which means no filler episodes, but it will be slightly more violent than the original. The animation will be done by Wit Studio, who they got some great anime out there. Look them up if you don't know who that is. So all you One Piece fans, I hope you're hearing that. Like, yeah, you do have filler episodes, and they're getting ready to get rid of all those filler episodes for the normies. So suck it up, get over it. It's coming right at you. There's no news as of yet when it will get released, but as soon as I find out, you'll find out. So we're going to end our news today on probably the most heartwarming story I've heard out of everything from pop culture over the past months. So Ryan Reynolds wants to return the favor to Channing Tatum. Now, what does that mean? So as we know, Deadpool Wolverine had a feature where Channing Tatum showed up as Gambit. Now, Channing Tatum has been trying to play Gambit not only in a film, but a standalone film for nearly 20 years. And he finally got his chance. And I don't care what anybody says, he was absolutely perfect. To me, that was the one of the highlights of the movie. I won't say the absolute number one, but it was one of the highlights of the movie for me. Ryan Reynolds took across social media, especially his Instagram story, and he wrote, quote, "When he makes a Gambit movie, speaking of Channing Tatum, I'll return the favor. If he needs someone to carry sandbags, I'm in. If he needs a Deadpool, I can do that. Someone to provide fresh orange slices to the crew, no problem. Just name it." Now, Feige has also admitted that he wants Gambit in the MCU, but he just doesn't know how or where to insert him. More than likely, if they have a new X-Men team, which more than likely they will, I think Gambit needs to be part of that team. Now, honestly, for me, having Gambit in the MCU, they need to keep Channing Tatum. He was absolutely perfect. I don't care what anybody says. Costume looks great. That accent was perfect. For all of you people out there that don't know, Gambit's not French. He's Cajun. Trust me, the way Channing Tatum was speaking is exactly how they sound. Trust me. I know. I have Cajun people in my family. They are hard to understand, and they are in my family. Everything about it was spot on perfect. I just can't wait to see him actually show back up as Gambit. So if they are going to do it, I hope it is part of a new X-Men team. They can change up his costume a little bit. They don't actually need a specific that specific costume that he wore in Deadpool Wolverine in the new iteration of the X-Men, because Gambit has had a few different costume variations and they all look really cool. So he doesn't actually need that one. Honestly, if they go with his yellow and blue uniform and just a short jacket, I think that would actually look better on screen. But who knows? As long as they actually have Channing Tatum playing Gambit, I think it'll be good. I don't think nobody will mind the costume change. Over all the news that we have today, don't forget to check our Instagram page where you can see trailers and other stories that don't make it into the news. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, talk about Trap. So before we start this Trap review, you got to ask yourself a question. Don't answer it right away. Just let it marinate in your brain while I tell you what I feel about the movie. But ask yourself this question. Do you actually like M. Night Shyamalan as a director? Like I said, don't answer the question right away. Just wait. Just wait and let me talk. Trap is actually, for me, a pretty good movie. So what we have is a doting father taking his daughter to see a concert by a artist named Lady Raven. Now, Lady Raven is actually played by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Suleika. I hope I pronounced her name right. If I didn't, my apologies. Now, the film itself, narratively, how the story is told, is a complete mess. It's all over the place. And honestly, the musical component that's thrown in with his daughter singing and the concert that's going on, it is very much a concert film and a thriller at the same time, even though the film itself is labeled as a horror flick. It does have a few horror elements thrown into it, but it's not a lot of blood. So for me, this isn't a horror film. This is very much a thriller, a drama. Just go with me on this one. Now, for my money, going to see the film was really about trying to figure out, well, what's the twist in the film? Because when you hear M. Night Shyamalan's name is being attached to a film, I know for a fact there's a collective pause and it's like, do I actually want to see it or do I not? Once it was announced that Josh Hartnett was the actual person playing the lead in this one, who plays the father taking his daughter, who is actually the serial killer that the FBI is trying to trap, no pun intended, within this concert, then I said, okay, this is a weird concept. This is something I haven't actually seen before on film. Let me go check it out. Now, the film itself, it's okay. It's not bad by no stretch of the imagination. But if you're going in it looking for the regular M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end, you get it, but at the same time, you don't get it. If you're going to see the film expecting, well, you're going to see a whole lot of horror elements, you're not going to get a whole lot of that. Don't get me wrong. There's a little blood here and there, and the way Josh Hartnett plays his character, which is very good, by the way, it kind of can seem like a horror flick. Not one with a whole lot of blood, but to me, again, this isn't really a horror flick. It's a thriller. Go see this film, for me, specifically, because you want to see something that you really haven't seen before. Like I said, this is a weird concept. The person that you're supposed to be rooting against technically is the guy you're rooting for. I know that's weird, but let's be for real. How many times have we seen serial killers or somebody talking about serial killers that's been caught, and his neighbors always say, wow, I would not expect that from him or her. He's such a nice guy. Whenever I see him, he always waves hi and he's very nice to talk to. And then you wound up finding out later on that this dude has a ton of women after him because he's so good looking. Josh Hart plays that type of serial killer in this, and he does it very well, to the point at some point during the film, even though this dude is kind of taking people out, trying his best to get out of this entrapment, you're still kind of rooting for him. You like him. He becomes very likable. Just like in real life, a lot of serial killers are likable people until you figure out the horror that they've done. It's a very good movie for me, which brings us back to the original question. Do you like M. Night Shyamalan as a director? If you do, this is a good movie. If you don't, it's a bit of a mess and you'll probably ignore it. So once you answer that question, then you'll know if you need to go see it or not. I have to pull myself back from the brink. Truly, to talk about Borderlands for me as a fan of the game, I have to take myself out of that frame of mind. I can't go into the review for Borderlands thinking, hey, I played the game, I know what this should be. I have to think about it as, okay, here's a film based on a Borderlands game. Did they do the game justice in the film? The problem with that is both frames of mind that I can judge this from says that Borderlands is a god-awful mess. Starting with the cast, every single person, except one, is horribly miscast. Ariana Greenblatt as Tiny Tina fits. I'll even go as far as saying Jenna Gershon as Mad Moxie just about gets there. Doesn't actually do it, but butts up real close to being an okay casting. Everybody else, no. For most people, in particular Jamie Lee Curtis and Cate Blanchett, too old for their characters. This isn't ageism because I love both of them. I have loved Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis as long as I have been watching movies. They are always good in what they do, but they are miscast in this. They don't fit age-wise, and their style of acting don't fit the characters in which they portray. And as far as Kevin Hart portraying Roland, a lot of people will say, oh, it fits because he's a short king and, you know, he has a heart of gold and a guy who used to be in the military. Except Roland is just under 6 feet tall. He's not a short king. 5'11" is not short. They actually had a very good person that could have played Roland. Charles Babalola, who played Hammerlock. Could have got him. And honestly, probably would have been just as good, if not better. The crazy thing about that is that Kevin Hart might actually be the best actor in the entire film, which isn't good. Because Kevin Hart, for his type of acting, his physical comedy, how he speaks, doesn't really fit Roland. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't completely horrible, but still, to me, horribly miscast. As far as the direction, it was directed by Eli Roth, a man who is known for great, gory horror flicks. Just think about his last one, Thanksgiving last year. Great B flick. It was so much fun to watch. I didn't review it, but I watched it and I laughed the entire time. And I actually praised him, saying that if anybody, it would be him who could take a fake film concept and turn it into a fully fledged film and it to feel fresh. It was a fun flick. But none of what makes Eli Roth a really good director shows up in this. This movie is PG-13 and should have been R. Hard R. Everything in Borderlands is violent, very violent, to say the least. And nothing in this film says that it was Borderlands as far as violence goes. If anything, this movie should have been, like I said, it should have been an R, and there should have been blood and destruction just run amok. We are talking about a video game here, by the way. as far as the look of it, at least that much I can compliment them on. It does look like Borderlands. It feels like Borderlands. I love a bunch of the set pieces. I love the weaponry. I love the costumes. To look at this is fun. I even like the poster so much I just might buy it and hang it up on the wall. But that's where it all ends. Just to look at the poster and say, hey, there's a Borderlands movie. To sit there and watch the story, which feels disjointed because a lot of the editing and the scenes feel like, hey, there's something right here. There's action right here that should go right here. And it just dissolves from one scene to another. Almost like, yep, they had to cut that out in order to make it into the PG-13 category. It feels so loose. There's no connective tissue to this film. I'm trying my best not to say anything completely outlandishly horrible about it, but I can't for the life of me find anything great to say about it other than it looks good. That's not a good enough reason for me to tell you to go see this movie. Honestly, don't. If anybody is thinking about going to see this movie and you haven't seen it and you're seeing this review, leave it be. Borderlands is not worth your time, not worth your money. Honestly, just wait. It'll wind up on streaming at some point on some streaming site that you already have. Then sit at home in the comfort of your own house and watch it then. Don't spend the $20. Don't buy the popcorn or anything like that. Just wait till it hits streaming and watch it then. And then you can judge it for yourself, honestly. And if I'm wrong and you like the film, God bless. Because quite honestly, this may be, as many have said before me already, the absolute worst video game adaptation ever made. And considering that we had Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in Super Mario Brothers, and that to me is better than this, that's saying a whole lot. So that's it, and that's all. It's time for the last call. I want to thank each and every single one of you for hanging out with me this week. You could have been doing anything, but you decided to hang out with me. I truly appreciate it. I don't care if it's 1, 5, 10, 100, or 1,000 of you. I truly appreciate anybody that stands by and watch me do this Twee'quel Podcast. I say it every week, and I mean it every single time I say it. Our weekend watch list, like I said earlier in our intro, it is very extensive. It is long. It is a lot. We usually have one thing that covers some category, and sometimes one thing covers all 4 of our categories for film, series, animation, and nostalgia. But this weekend we're just going to throw those categories out with the bathwater, and we got a lot to watch. First thing on the list, Ford versus Ferrari. So this weekend in Metro Detroit, it's going to be a lot of cruising, a lot of people bringing out their classic cars for the Dream Cruise, which doesn't actually run through Detroit, but someday we may get our own cruise that's nationally televised like the other one is, but that's something else for another day. But yeah, it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, watch it. I'm going to watch it again. In theater, Alien versus Romulus. I cannot wait to see that. After Deadpool and Wolverine, that was pretty much my most anticipated movie for the entire year. I cannot wait to get to the theater to see this. So far, everything that I've been hearing from early reviews, everybody's saying this is probably the best one since the original way back in 1979. So we shall see. Next week I will be talking about it in a review. So just make sure you tune in next week. Also on in theaters, It Ends With Us. So I am actually a fan of chick flicks. I know that seems really weird for a nerd like me, but maybe it's not that weird for most people. But I do want to see this. It stars Blake Lively, and from the early reviews, I'm saying it's not what most people are going to think it is about. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see this. I might actually go have to watch that one by myself. I don't think my wife likes chick flicks as much as I do. On Netflix, another film, The Union. It actually stars Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg. It's an action comedy. So I can't wait to actually see this one. A lot of people don't like Mark Wahlberg right now for a lot of the things he said. But if we are to believe anything that he said, but if we are also to believe that people deserve second chances, we should give him a little grace, because we ourselves would want second chances too. But I do want to see the film, and we actually will be reviewing that one next week along with Alien Romulus. And also for our animation, if we had categories, this one would actually cover 3. The old anime Initial D. That is one of my absolute favorite anime. So if you are a fan of street racing, if you're a fan of drifting, if you're a fan of race cars, if you're a fan of anime, and you need to watch Initial D. I'm going to be watching it this weekend. Like I said, our list is real long, and I will be going through all of that. So make sure you check in next week for those 2 reviews, because I got a feeling I'm going to like both of these films, but we'll see next week when we start talking about it. Outside of that, it's time for us to go. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Don't forget to take care of yourself, stay blessed, and stay hydrated. The good news is you can do both without anybody's help, and I know you can. And don't forget, if you're feeling lonely, if you feel like the darkness is closing in, you need somebody to talk to, pick up the phone, dial or text 988. There's always somebody there to talk to. You are never alone. I promise you, you are not. So it's time for us to go, and we will end this episode the same way we end every episode. For our producer, Nikki Reb, I say to you, God bless, I love you, and peace. See you next time.